This computer. Okay. So hello everyone, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. This is the first in our series of industry talks organized by the Harvard Business School Club of Singapore. My name is Adeline. I'm one of the mentors in this year's program, and very happy to have you all here with us. I think we'll learn a lot from our mentors who have some deep experience in all these different industries. So today our talk is on real estate, and we're very privileged to have with us a guest mentor and also a friend, Bharad. He's going to share with us his experience from over 25 years in the real estate field. And as we've heard, there are many opportunities that real estate can offer. And Bharad has experienced many of this firsthand, all the way from the property development side to the facilities management to the investments side of things. So he'll be sharing with us his experience across all this. And for those who are new to this industry, you also learn like what are some ways that you can get into this industry, regardless of your academic discipline. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Bharad. Bharad, take it over. Take away,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Thank you, Adeline. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I will share whatever I can, but I'm sure you will have a lot of specific questions. I'm more than happy to answer as we go along. So I'll just share the screen so that you guys can see what I'm. Okay, everybody is able to see the screen. Okay, good. Okay, once again, thank you, Adeline, for this opportunity. I'm more than happy to share what I know. More important is to see how best we can help the young graduates like you guys and see how to make sure that if you need any guidance, I think we are more than happy to be part of your journey in real estate. So my agenda will be like this. I'll just go through quickly all the thing. I won't read it out. I think it's more important is to share more knowledge here. So this is my agenda. Q&A we have put as 20 minutes, but of course, yeah, as you go along, if you want to stop me, please feel free to stop because that will be more interactive. Yeah. So good. I think since we have not many participants, I will skip this poll. I think it's perfectly fine. It's more like a five of you, four of you, I think. So I'll just skip that. Yeah. Uh, I think this is where I just want to tell you the story of myself, what it has worked for me. I think I'm sure that this is quite general. It may work for everybody. I think there are four success factors which has worked for me. One is the attitude, hard work, and bit of luck and network. This has worked for me, so I'll demonstrate to you how it has worked for me in my career in real estate. So it's just a story. Uh, I'm just putting as a episodes here. There are five turning points in my story. So I'm just showing you. I started my career way back in 1993 in a HDB. So I'm not a real estate broker or agent. I'm more of a real estate professional. So I worked in many corporates. HDB is one of them. So basically, I was a QS. So I think at that point in time, I went through a poly and a degree. So more important is to really I mean, we have to learn the job, correct? I think that's more important because sometime when we come out of the graduation, it's always a tough to learn what we want to learn. But whatever given, I think is hard work is important. So the next one is somehow I got into a lot of computer programming, even though I was not a computer programmer. This is the more like additional knowledge I gain and on the job. I think Excel is very important for everybody now. I think it has become almost a tool which we need to know. And of course, I went into programming as well. So then I think this is very important. I was having a bit of luck, to be honest. I had a very good bosses and supporting colleagues. So this is one of the thing work for me. And also, I think a lot of time we need to get into the local culture because I was from India, but when I came here, it was a new thing for me. But I took it in my stride and make sure that I got into the culture. So I'm sure it will happen to many people like you who go and explore any other things outside Singapore as well. So, just next part of my story is after 10 years of working in HDB, I joined Surbana. I think you guys know what is Surbana. It's one of the multidisciplinary consultancy firm. And then I got into business development, where a bit of luck involved because I came through in my own company. I came through this position in a newspaper advertisement, not in the intranet. Uh, then business development is a very, very interesting. Basically, I was in charge of marketing the Surbana's consultancy services. So I was traveling a lot within the region. Every deal is a closing. Every deal closing is a story by itself. I can share, but because of time limit, I don't think I will get into detail. Uh, then I got into property investment. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is whatever the job we take, I think there will be a changes along the way. We need to prepare new skill set. That's very important. So here I started learning a new investment skill. Microsoft Excel came into picture, feasibility study model, and also fund management, which is a new thing at that point in time, 2008, way back. Then I had opportunity to be involved in one transaction where Surbana was 40% was taken over by CapitaLand. So I was working with the Temasek team in order to help them on the valuation for Surbana. So again, what I'm saying is all this work is basically we had to learn on the job and deliver. So sometimes we may not be exposed, but more important is the attitude from that's what everybody appreciates. So every deal is definitely make sure that they will put you in a where the good luck can find you. So that's in essence I'm saying on the turning point. So now I go into portfolio. What I used to do, I got into the self-storage. I'm sure you might have seen this Thor Hub in all parts of Singapore. So basically, CapitaLand was wanted to grow. We acquired Big Orange. By doing so, again, this is where I just want to tell you that there will be some asset classes which we are not exposed to, but we just have to learn and deliver. So I was also involved in the integration team after that. Then this is the new one, Indonesia. We invested capital and invested in. By the way, after Surbana's acquisition of Capital Land, coincidentally, I joined Capital Land. So this all this thing I was doing in Capital Land time. So this was the Jakarta. We invested in a project in Jakarta, quite near to the CBD. So again. This is a new thing, new market, so we had to learn new things again. So attitude is quite important. Then I was fortunate to be part of a reverse transaction where consultancy was sold back to Temasek. Then we took over the township development, the balance 60%, so that we became 100%. So this was during Capital Land, but this time I'm on the other side of the table. I was not with the Temasek. So that's so what I want to demonstrate to you is sometimes the real estate circle is very, very small here. So because of that reason, a lot of times we just have to be very careful not to burn any bridges along the way. Then there was a big break in my career came up where I was heading a retail mall for CapitaLand. We had 8 retail malls. I was country head for CapitaLand in India. So I went there and I took over. Again, this is a very new asset class. I have to learn again asset management, more of asset management role because some of the projects was already under construction as well as operational. Then I think somebody asked about the hospitality. I was also managing the two hospitality projects. So and also growing the company in India at that time. Since I was based there, so I was managing the Ascot properties. So I can share more details if you have specific questions. I just want to go through quickly so that you get a flavor of what expertise I have Then I was also involved in the fund. I think somebody asked about the some of the investment asset management. Again, fund management is also more like asset management, if you ask me. So what happened is this fund was created in 2008. So I was involved in divesting the some of our basically on the exit strategy. So more like a problem solving club. Then I think today I'm not working in Capital Land because 9 years I've worked. So I'm just working on a real estate fund, which is I'm setting up with another sponsor. Then I'm also mentoring the startup in real estate, mentoring some of the startup in real estate. Adeline, is everything okay? Because somebody sent some chat, you can check. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think also I think technology is really shaping up every industry. So because of that, I've also going back to my learning where I'm looking doing a Google course on digital transformation. My intention is to how to integrate to real estate industry, and also the something I'm pursuing corporate coaching, which is something which somehow we got into. Adeline is also studying that, so it's a good thing, so that we can give back to society in a way. So I think I'll just wrap it up quickly. So attitude, hard work. There's the need to have a little bit of luck, I think, necessary sometimes, and also network. I think this is a very, very important. And network takes a little bit of time. It's not going to be happening over time. So you have to keep building it. This has worked for me. I'm sure it's something work for you guys. But I just want to wrap it up here and move forward. To the other things in real estate, which I prepared specifically for this briefing. So basically, I think there are many carriers in real estate, but in terms of category, valuation is where basically you value the property. You run the feasibility study model and estimate the valuation of the property, because every company has to do the valuation of their property for their balance sheet. So in a sense, every year there is an annual requirement, but of course you need to have a license, so you may need to pass some exam for that. Developer, I think this is where you get involved in the developer side, like maybe a Capital Land or Maple Tree or Keppel Land, whoever it is. So basically you are in charge of creating the asset value for the asset after they buy the land. Then investment and asset management is a very unique thing, basically where you get involved in an investment analysis. So sometime you may be buying the land, so you run all the numbers for that to make sure that the numbers basically there are always a hurdle rate, what we call internal rate of return. We need to cross that in order to go to the IC committee in order to seek approval. Of course, we have to run a lot of study, due diligence before going to the investment committee. More in most of the corporates, it's like that. Then asset management is something after the investment it starts, where you actually get involved in managing the asset and creating more value and increasing the profitability of the project. So that is what we call as the asset management. Yeah. Uh, uh, Urban planning, I think this is more of a planning, technical work, but I think if you are not, if you are from more from business, I think you can skip this. Property facility management is, again, it will be a little bit of financial as well as some of the technical work. But if you are part of asset management, you will be heavily involved in, to a certain extent, how the property has been managed, because at the end of the day, you need to really increase the revenue and also optimize the cost. So these are the two things which happens in most of the project. And of course, there are many ways you can work on real estate, not being involved in a real estate. So the reason why I'm saying is, like for instance, there is the insurance, there is a bank, there is a finance, there is a treasury. There are many, many ways where real estate firms also needs the finance people as well as the business people as well. So I think it is not that you of course your skills are really can be cross industry, but sometimes the real estate industry also needs this type of skill set. Then I think you guys know what are the statutory board are in charge, but of course their objective is different from the corporate like Capital Land or Ascenders or Maple Tree or Keppel Land. These people are more of a government. So again, this everybody has their own objective. Why I think Singapore there are many. We are very what you call famous for a good. Hi, Adeline, are you there? Hi, is anybody there? Yeah, 1 minute. I'll just see what is the chat here. Hello, I was wondering what kind of startup you are mentoring. Feel free to ask. Okay. Uh, okay. Hi, everyone. Are you guys able to see Adeline? Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'll continue. Okay, I will answer the questions a little bit later so that I think it's easier that way. I will definitely answer all your questions. Only we have few participants, so it is good that it's a small group. Property developers, there are many. I think you guys know this as well, but of course, there are good ones as well as the bigger ones. Of course, Capital Land has become a big one now after the merger with Ascendus. So I can explain how the deal went, what is the objective, all those things I can share. But unfortunately, time is limited. But we can always do it later. Um, then Okay, I think the another big one is the IPC, what we call International Property Consultant, JLL, Knight Frank, CBRE, Colliers, Savills is also now they enter the market. Cushman and Wakefield, Landlease. These are the people who really require business people, but to handle some of the business, some of the real estate projects as well. Banks, I think they give a lot of loan to the real estate companies. So a lot of times they need a good somebody who has got a business knowledge and they want to maybe sometime you may be assigned to do the project financing or the real estate financing. So that would be the other one. Then in terms of asset management company, I think GIC real estate is a big one. Because they do invest in other countries. GIC real estate doesn't have a mandate to invest in Singapore, they always need to invest outside Singapore. So that is the key. Then Allianz, ARA, Credit Suisse, everybody has a real estate arm in their books. That means in their portfolio. So they do invest quite a lot of money. And of course, I think you all familiar that there are real estate investment REITs, which requires more of a business knowledge. Of course, there is technical knowledge involved, but there is also a good mix of business graduates also join this reach as well. So yeah, I think I'll move on. Then I think just to let you know, this is our capital and one. I'm just sharing because I used to manage a lot of GDPs. What we call GDP is the Graduate Development Program. It's just a 21 months program where they will rotate in that 21 months for different jobs. After that, you can choose which one you want to join as a permanent. It's a very good way of learning, if you ask me, because they are actually rotating you so that you can get a flavor of a few jobs before you make up your mind. I'm sure that similar program is there in every other company as well, not just Capital Land. Yeah, so this is one of them, which is a quite good. I think if you need a little bit more detail, please feel free to ask me later. Then I think you guys will know everything what you need to do, but I'll just go through. I think sometimes people do search your social media, what you're doing. So it is best to clean up sometimes. It's good to, after when you are searching for a job, a lot of times they will I mean, especially the HR people, they do go and find all these things. So just maybe it's good to go do some auditing here. Then I think again this is something which is very general, but I think more important is to prepare your compile your CV and summary so that it is a concise. No need to write too much. I think maximum there should be a two-page summary of your work, what you have done, because nowadays people don't have time to read too many things. I think this is a very important one, which I also didn't do it in the beginning of my career, but afterwards I started doing it. Letter of recommendation. Whenever you meet up with somebody, I think we should actively source for it rather than just waiting for them to give. I think this is quite important, and also I think it's better to always keep in touch with the people you have worked for, because real estate is a very small industry, but I think the opportunity will come whenever, as and when it comes, definitely they will remember you. So you need to be on the top of the mind. I think this is where I really put a lot of effort. Network, network, network. I think this is when I'm sure that you will also have your own network, but I think it's just that constant effort is required in order to really build the network. So I don't want to underemphasize, but this is one of the key one. I think mega trend. I'm just telling you what is my future for, especially for this real estate industry. Um, Sustainability becoming a big thing. So if you focus on sustainability, I think definitely every project need to adapt a sustainability practices. I think I'm sure you would have read in some of the papers that banks are giving green loans, which is a little bit cheaper than the conventional loan. So more and more companies are going for sustainability. And I think the in real estate, the mixed development is another big trend. If you want to, I mean, if you just build a residential, it may not give you the value, but sometimes mixed use development is sometimes it gives you a little bit higher value. Innovative structures. Here, I think you may be aware, Singapore has invested, has came up with this capital company structure, which is the one of the more like a sub fund under the main fund. So that is a new thing which has started just recently. So there are a lot of people who are migrating some of their structure to that, because it will reduce the cost of managing some of the project. I think this is the answer for the Singapore answer to the offshore structure, which was there which was very popular because Singapore was not allowing that type of structures. So there are many things which is happening, and also there is another thing which is called SPAC, special purpose acquisition, where companies, even in this during 2020, they have raised around 22 billion in US for and there are some real estate companies is also part of that. So I can share more details on this if anybody is interested. This is something which I think it's going to happen in not just for real estate but for other companies as well. I think the other asset class which is gaining a prominence is data center, because nowadays everybody is using a lot of data. So in a sense, data center is becoming a more like another class, alternative asset class, which is really giving a lot of good return to the investor. I think the case in point is Keppel Data Center REIT, which is still going up in even though in spite of COVID affected many other asset classes. So yeah, I think this is my email and my profile. I think I'm more than happy to take if you need any help. I'm more than happy to actually engage with you on one-to-one basis. So you can note down bharadbv at gmail.com, and also LinkedIn profile is over there. So yeah, I think this I want to keep it short. Now I can go back to any questions you have. I'm sure everybody is looking for a new journey. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bharat. That's amazing. So you've really shared with us so much in just half an hour, your own experiences in all these different fields. I didn't realize you had done so many things like property investment, hospitality, fund management, retail mall management, and everything. Mentees on the call, do think of questions that you want to ask Bharat. Anything that came up that he was talking about that is very interesting to you. This is your chance to reach out to him. maybe Bharat, I can start you with one question. So
Yeah.
as someone who has hired and mentored many young graduates into this field, especially in capital land, what are some qualities you would say that make someone successful in real estate?
I think it's all the. I think I've already touched on this one, the 4 point, which I think is very important. It has worked for me. I'm sure that these are all general enough to work for anybody. I think attitude is important because at the end of the day, what we learn and what we are going to do is going to be very different, and it is the change is a constant everywhere. So it will go. We have to learn new skills. Then I think the hard work, unfortunately, there's no shortcut there. I think we need to put in that best effort in order to, even though sometimes we may not like that type of work, but I think in a bigger scheme of things, we still need to put in that best effort. Then a bit of luck, I think it has worked for me. I'm sure everybody will agree with me. A little bit of luck is required, but no, we can't overemphasize on that because that is not this thing. But network is something which is so important in our life. I think I think always I look for building up the network. I think you should know more people, even though sometimes they may not be so useful to you at that point in time. You still need to have that connection. Yeah, I think this is the 4 point which I showed you how it worked for me. So I'm sure it will work for others as well.
Great. Thanks, Bharat. Anyone have any questions for Bharat? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hi,
So
I
Tash,
actually
go
have a
ahead.
question. Uh, because like I come from a background that is not like a real estate degree, right? So basically, like I would believe that I'll have some gap to bridge if I were to go from real estate to like insurance broker. Not insurance, sorry, real estate broker, for example. So I was thinking, right? When it comes to a business degree, because it's more I would say general. So like what are the chances of like a business undergrad being able to join the real estate industry after graduation compared to a real estate graduate?
Yeah, I think Tasha, thank you so much. I think it is a very good question. So what you're asking is basically what is your USP versus somebody who come from real estate, but you're coming from a business perspective. As I said, there are many work doesn't really involve so much deep knowledge about the real estate industry. But like for instance, investment asset management, you don't really need a real estate degree because you're not going to manage the technical work or something which is very deep into real estate. So you will learn along. So in a sense, I have seen so many of my colleagues who are from a business, but of course they took up the real estate as one of the industry they want to get in. So I think you also will have an equal chance, but not for every job. I hope I have answered, but of course, I'm more than happy to. You can call me and we can discuss. We can discuss always. Yeah,
Actually, Bharat, how about for the graduate development program? Like you mentioned, many
yeah,
capital land and many of the large employers do have that.
yeah,
What percentage roughly of people who come from a real estate background versus people who come from a more general or other background, such as a business or accountancy
yeah.
degree?
I think there are three tracks which I've shown you. One is the technical one. Of course, for that we select the engineering graduate mostly, but there are others which is a more of a generalist actually. That one come from a various background. So even like Tasha, who is from a business, also is able to. I have seen many people who come from that background as well. Yeah.
Great. And I think Charlene has a question in the chat. Can you see it, Bharat, or do you want me to read it out?
Yeah. Can you just read it
And
out if you don't
sure.
mind?
So Shalene mentioned you mentioned that there are many different routes for real estate, such as urban planning, development, etc. What kinds of experiences or knowledge do you think recruiters look out for in these different routes? Maybe we start with the ones that she mentioned, so like urban planning,
Yeah.
development, and then the funds. I know I think there's a lot of interest in the financial side of real estate. So maybe we
Yeah.
can talk about that.
Urban planning is a little bit of technical work, if you ask me. I mean, depends upon, I'm just assuming that you are more like you are a master planner where you need to have a little bit of technical skill. But having said that, there is also something which is in URA where they do analytics rather than getting into more into technical work. So those type of skills, those type of roles will require a different set of business skills rather than really technical skill. A developer, again, developer, I think there are so many type of jobs in a developer. So I'm sure that everybody will have a opportunity to join the particular role, even though you are not really from a real estate background. So I think the fund management, real investment, asset management doesn't really require. You can learn if you do one project. I think you will get hang of it. So I think this. I mean, going with a really uh, focusing on a transfer, more common skill is very important. Attitude is the most important we look for, to be honest. This is, I think, you need to demonstrate that. That means your willingness to learn. I think that is the key. Then what else is there in that? Could you
Uh,
elaborate?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe, and I know you also had mentioned like real estate consultancies like JLL and so on.
yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about some of the roles that might be available in real estate
Yeah,
consultancies.
consultancy are. I have seen many. I mean, many people who joined CBRE, JLL, Knight Frank, and all. I think they are not very technical people. They are very general. Like they come from a finance background. They come from a real. They come from a business background. They come from a very general background. But they make it big because I think somehow these people sometimes, I mean, the way they work is on more on the bonus is really big if you make it happen. So it requires a different skill set. If you ask me, you need to be very people person. You need to manage because you at the end of the day you are providing a service to other clients. So in a sense, if you are good in that, I think that is really a big one. And you can also get into investment banker later, or you can start off with big names as well. So I think those, and also what I've seen is once you are part of that CBRE, you are just jumping from CBRE to JLL, JLL to Knight Frank. It keeps happening actually, and I think it's a very long term career, but there are many options there as well.
How about some of the fund and asset management opportunities that you mentioned? So, for example, GIC real estate, as well as many of the banks.
Okay.
Do those require someone to have an experience in a real estate company first before they recruit, or do they recruit fresh grads as well?
It is a bonus if you ask me if you have worked in a real estate company. Especially, I'm only focusing on real estate part. So if you are talking about GIC, GIC is keeping around 5% of their portfolio. They invest in real estate. So it's a more of a hedging strategy they do. So that means they invest in a real estate project outside. So GIC cannot invest within Singapore. They always need to invest outside Singapore, and GIC fund is our CPF money. Temasek fund is come from our budget surplus. So different source of funding. So GIC has to return 2.5% minimum for the ordinary account or whatever it is, correct? So since GIC cannot invest because they want to create make sure that they are outside. That means they have to invest outside. So they do look at some of the good people, and their core team is in Singapore. So in a sense, if you go to Capital Tower, which is in Tanjung Pagar, that's where they sit out. I think everybody are from a more from a business rather than from a real estate. Real estate they will learn along the job as they go on in that. Then of course Allianz and Ara, Credit Suisse, they everybody has a real estate arm in their structure and they invest. So these people are also similar to GIC real estate. So they don't need a really technical person. It's more of a generalist they need. You may be handling a treasury, or you may be handling a fund management, or you may be handling a investment portfolio management or investment analytics. There are many opportunities there as well.
Anyone have any questions for Bharat?
I think there are few questions earlier, correct? I was wondering what kind of real estate startup you are mentoring. Okay, this is a good question. This is a new thing to me as well. So now I'm mentoring one of the day use, sorry, not day use, hourly use hotel startup, so they can book based on hours instead of based on days. I think there are few competitors as well for that. Then I'm mentoring another company which provides a lot of site coordination in the through the using a technology in order to help them during the construction stage of the project. So I'm mentoring them, and then I'm mentoring another one where they are actually taking one big building and they are doing a fractional investment. I mean, they're bringing a few investors rather than one investor. So by doing so, means you create value for the small investors as well. It's like something like small REIT. So I think I'm mentoring that. So these are my startup companies which I'm mentoring right now.
Great. And we actually have another mentor on the call as well. So Victor joined us. Victor, if
Oh,
you'd like to
Victor.
introduce yourself a little bit to the to the mentees.
Sorry I was late and how is everything doing, Bharad? Actually, I met
Yeah,
Bharad, so
yeah.
it's great to be caught up in the webcam now because I'm actually doing something. So I'm discussing with Bharad on fund management for data centers. I think it's absolutely something to go into. And beside that, I think there is a lot of room for real estates because the value change is really huge. Besides talking about the value change from developers is just development, but then actually before that is the architect, and then from architect to the construction companies, and all the way down to even smart building, smart technology. So I, sorry Baraj, I haven't gone through your slides, so I don't know what you have discussed. So
No
but
problem lah. It's all in line in the same thing. Yeah, you can go ahead.
because we are both he's in Capital Land, I was in Ascendus. So Ascendus is more on the industrial parks. So I'm very keen to discuss about industrials, buildings, as well as data centers, and also smart cities and smart buildings because these are technology centric systems, and also investments, not just for private equity, which is traditional funds, but also in nowadays they're talking about security tokens, which I think we'll cover in fintech side. So yes,
Okay.
any questions for us?
So yeah, mentees, if you have any questions, so both Bharat and Victor started out, I think, I'll say, in more traditional real estate for companies, and you've gone more towards the investment side. Is that right?
Yeah.
In both your careers. So, and we had a couple of people, Victor, earlier in the call who introduced themselves to us. I think there's definitely a lot of interest in all the different parts of the real estate value chain. So all the way from the property development side to the managed facilities management to also the funds
That's
side
nice.
of things. Anyone have any questions for Bharat or Victor while we have them on the call? Anything that Bharat mentioned that is interesting to you that you'd like to learn a little bit more? Different types of firms, different programs, different functions. Okay, Bharat, I'll throw one more question out there for you. So you've worked a lot in
Yeah.
different countries. So you've worked in Singapore, you've worked in India and Indonesia
Yeah.
and many other countries. How critical is it to be able to have that mobility,
Yeah.
flexibility for someone considering a career in real estate?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Adeline. I think I always believe that if you are in Singapore, you are prepared to be mobile. You have to be prepared because once in your career, there is always a opportunity which will come, which will force you to make a decision between your career and the family. So in a sense, this is for sure because Singapore is a very, very small market for us. But of course, Singapore has, really can do a lot of projects. So we should not just confine to Singapore, our thinking. we should be very open. I think Asia is coming up nicely, so Singapore is well placed to take advantage of this. So in a sense, I believe you need to be mobile. Of course, sometimes because of family reason or whatever it is, maybe you may need to take some compromise here. But I think it is very important, and you will get a chance. If you don't take it, maybe somebody else will take it.
And another question in terms of there's, I think, maybe a misconception that, real estate, a lot of the work is out in the field, right? You may not spend as much time behind the desk as you do in other industries. Is that true?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Of course, there are group of people who will be on the ground. There is a group of people who will be in a more like a very nice posh office as well. So in a sense, it's not a it is definitely a misconception. Maybe like I should say more like a 50-50 people. Some people will be on the ground. Some people will be on the office. So I think, yeah, I think definitely I see a lot of. I mean, at the end of the day, the real estate, the success story of CapitaLand is they are actually trying to merge the real estate domain knowledge with the financial engineering. That's how they became so big. And that is what we are proud of as a Singapore company, which is doing extremely well at the global scene.
Great. We have a question from Valerie. So Valerie said, Hi Bharad, thank you for your sharing. What are some new digital skills we can pick up to prepare ourselves for a career in real estate?
Okay, very good question. There is no particular specific digital skill. I think definitely digital marketing is going big everywhere, or I should say more like a digital transformation. It's happening. Sometimes like if you're a technical person, of course you need to learn some other program like Revit, AutoCAD, or all those things, but I think those are all very technical work. But I think Excel is definitely a must. You have to master this Excel because there are a lot of numbers crunching happens for us. So that is one, of course. Other than that, I think keeping trend with new technology which is coming up. A lot of times the real estate has been uh, considered as a little bit lagging behind when compared to other industries. So if you can really think of how to integrate some of the new technology into real estate, I think it's really wonderful. Even data analytics for AI and all is coming into the real estate as well. So I should say these are the new skill set is required as any other industry, not just real estate. But I think, Serene, if you can call me, I think it's good. I can try to explain to you. Hospitality goes in a different direction. There is a PMS, which is like a heart of the hospitality properties. Like PMS means property management system. If you can get into revenue management, basically to do a dynamic adjustment of the rates based on analytics, I think that's wonderful, Serene. I think you can make it a big revenue management is a very, very interesting in hospitality. If you are good in numbers, I think if you can make it, I think you will be you will get a very good, decent career in that.
Great. And I can talk a little bit about that because I was in hotels for a while. So yes, definitely that hotels is not exactly in real estate, but it because of the overlap with hospitality, definitely there are very interesting careers there as well in the hotels field and revenue management. Like Bharad said, how if you can charge more for the same room, if you can add on things that someone will pay for when they come and stay in your hotel, all that really adds a lot to the top line. And because all these industries are very high fixed cost industries, you really have to play a lot on the revenue side that will drive your profitability. So yeah, revenue management is a very interesting area if that's an area that you would like to explore. That has a lot of tools, a lot of digital skills that you can apply, and that's growing in the. Serene actually had a question as well. All right. So that was
Yeah.
Valerie's question. Valerie, does that answer your question? Do you want to ask anything else related to digital skills? If not, then
Hi,
Serene has a.
yes. My
Oh,
question is answered. Thank you very much. Thank you.
thanks, Val. So Serene has a question. Bharad, how do you see the future landscape of real estate industry evolving in Singapore, especially with factors like tech in disrupting the industry? So, for example, more tech,
Yeah,
prop tech startups. Yeah, go ahead.
I think every company in real estate, unfortunately, we need to use technology to really uh, basically to survive as well. If we don't harness the technology, I think we'll be out of our business sooner or later. So we need to be very open. But most of the companies has an issue. Either they want to be called as a fundamentally brick and mortar type of company, or they don't want to go too much into technology side where you will be called as more of a technology company. So in a sense, we need to use the technology for our business. That is the strategy most of the companies adapt. Of course, there are a lot of prop tech companies which will come up. Definitely, they will disrupt what big boys are doing. I think it's going to happen. If they can make it big, I'm sure that the big boys has to acquire them or be part of their scheme of things. So that's how it will be. I think there are few Airbnb is a classic example of what happened to the hospitality industries. So in a sense, definitely there are many things which is going on inside the real estate as well. COVID is affecting the industry. I'm sure everybody knows about this. Hospitality is the worst affected, if you ask me. And next comes as more of a office, commercial, as well as the retail. I will put them in almost in a similar league. Then residential, maybe not so much affected, but it's still because of the unfortunately the nowadays the employment and all, it is affecting them. It is affecting the sales of the residential projects as well. The one which is the plus, I mean, in a sense, those asset classes which has taken advantage of this COVID is the data center. Then some of the logistic and the e-commerce, those related one are the one which is taking benefit of COVID situation. So we have to analyze which industry, and then we can say that this has been affected by COVID. So I hope I have answered, Shireen. More than happy. Again, this is just a unfortunately short time. I have to keep it short. Please, I've given you my email, my numbers, everything. You can always ask me anytime. Willing to share how, Victor, this is your question.
What's the question?
In the chat, it is there. Okay, I'll read for you. If Victor is willing to share, how would smart logistics and city impact the growth of real estate industry, especially when the VC and stroke startup ecosystem seems to be underlying force for smart city? Question mark.
Mm, I I sincerely think that if you really want to delve into smart cities, you need to have a exposure of city planning like URA. People like Capital Land Ascenders. For Ascenders, when we built city level kind of industrial parks similar to Suzhou industrial parks, then you have experience of doing smart cities. So smart cities comes in two ways. One is the technological side, the other one is is the traditional brick and mortar real estate. So most of the time when we talk about smart cities, we really trend towards the intelligence, the digital sites rather than the real estate sites. But actually, smart cities when it comes out, it's really a real estate play because the valuation of the assets or the whole balance sheets is actually slant towards traditional real estate sites. So initially, when Singapore embarked on smart cities in some part of the world, we actually looking at it as a marketing campaign. But now it is not no longer a marketing campaign. It's actually a very key drive in Singapore, not just on real estates, but the whole idea of technology integrated with the city, and in Singapore is a country. So it's a very long reply to a short answer, but you start thinking about smart city, then you have to think through every facet of life. including in Singapore case, your SingPass. The simplest example is that not many countries in the world deploy something like SingPass in Singapore. Singapore is really small, that's why SingPass is possible. But without SingPass, how you identify this person in a smart city? Then there is something to do with privacies and all sort of things. So, sorry, Bharat, is that a small answer or too big answer?
Tasha, do you have any follow-on questions from Victor's answer?
I don't have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tasha.
I think for countries like China, Singapore, we are actually driving the country cryptocurrencies. So when we say cryptocurrencies, we're referring to the Chinese digital uh, tokens that is representing the renminbi. So all these things will drive the economy very fast. But I'm digressing from real estates. So go back to real estates, okay?
Anyone has any questions? Any other questions for Bharat or Victor? Okay, so let me ask you both the question. So Bharat, if you were in the shoes of our mentees today, so someone who's about to graduate from their diploma or degree program and interested in real estate, how would you start? Which firms would you apply to, or which functions would you look at?
Uh, I think at the end of the day, I'm sure that when during their degree course or polytechnic course, they will find some sort of motivation in a particular subject. I think it's important to find that niche first, and afterwards we target the company which is going in that direction. That is the first step. But having said that, I think this is just a first step. After you join the particular company, please be open for changes, which happen to me every day. Not every day, I should say, in my career, so in a sense, we need to open for changes. We have to move along as an organization, as this thing grows. So what I'm trying to say is it's just the first step. So don't have to put too much effort to go for that dream company. You should take what it comes. Every experience counts at the end of the day. I think that is very important, which will lead to somewhere else later. Yeah.
Great advice, Bharat. And I think for everyone listening on this call, that's fantastic advice, right? Doesn't matter where you start, it's that you keep seizing every opportunity that comes your way, because your career can go in very different directions from where you start. Your first job is just your first job. There'll be many other jobs, many other roles and companies. After that, it's just doing the best in everyone so that opens up new doors for you. We have a question from Philbert. It's a bit more of an investing question than a recruiting question, but if Victor or Bharat, you'd like to take it. So Victor, the question is, in equities, finding undervalued stocks can be done through their books. As a real estate investor, finding undervalued or high growth potential property seems to be harder. So for property data, it is less accessible. What is the criteria that is important to pay attention to as a real estate investor? It's a bit more of an investment question. Victor, would you like to take it, or Bharat?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a very good question. What he is trying to say is basically the question says that I can evaluate the equity, those companies which is easy to understand, the equity or not in the real estate business. It's very easy to understand, put a value to it. But when it comes to real estate, somehow we feel that it is always a little bit difficult to understand, as well as there is a little bit of undervalue happen because most of the real estate companies will trade at a NAV discount rather than really NAV. Of course, there are some exceptions there as well, but mostly I say that we are like 0.8 times of the NAV or whatever it is most of the time. So yeah, I think the reason why it happens is most of our real estate project has a long gestation period. So in a sense, it will take a little bit of time in order to stabilize the property. We have to do the construction. Then after that, there is a little bit of risk involved. So in a sense, in order to value the company, I think one has to really see what is the visibility of the revenue of that particular company. And also there is accounting rules which says that if it is a residential project, I need to hand over 100% before I can record the revenue. So if the developer is in a residential business, the revenue is a very uh, lumpy because you need to hand over the project before you recognize revenue in your books. So we need to understand a little bit of intricate detail before we can value. So maybe that's the reason I think this question, I think Philbert is asking. It's hard to put a value to the real estate stocks when compared to other stocks. I'm more than happy to answer a few more pointers for him. Maybe he can contact me. No
Yeah, maybe
problem at
take it
all. Yeah.
offline, Philbert.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other recruiting or career related question that Bharat or Victor can help anyone with?
Actually, the financial angle of real estates versus the brick and mortar sites is very. There are two actually in the world. There's three parts in real estates. One is the developers who actually build, acquire land and build. The second one is operating it to increase the yield or the return to the investors. The third one is the fund management, which actually manage the financial side. So it's very wide field, and like I said, very huge value chain. So you just have to like one side of it. Like you like finance, you like numbers, do the finance side, and then of course you like fundraising, that you like people, then you may also go to fundraising. But actually when you go to the operation side, you need to like tenants and you can manage the tenants, but more important, you need to manage the assets. So operationally your assets must run well. But as a developer, it's uh, very long pipeline. So cash flow is key, and finance, not just looking at finance alone, but also the intuitive gut feel that this location will work or not work. So a lot of these things goes into it.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe
Okay,
Adeline,
great.
I think let's just ask the
So,
feedback from
sure.
participant.
Do you have a
Maybe
poll for
in a
that?
scale of no need. I think we just put it in a chat. In a scale of 1 to 10, we just want to know whether it was it useful. First question, maybe you can put a number in the chat. Then the other one is there anything we can improve? I mean, just one word or maybe one small sentence, so that Adeline can take note of that. Maybe everybody can type one in a scale of 1 to 10, or whether this was useful.
I think Bharat, maybe because this is quite sensitive, I
Okay.
think we'll send a poll out later to all the mentees, to those who
Okay.
who did
Okay.
participate in these
No problem.
programs.
Yeah.
Tasha, I do see your question there. I think maybe would you like to take that offline with Victor or Bharat on fundraising roles?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Fundraising role.
so recognize that we are out of time. We're at the top of the hour, and we promised we'll stop at 1 o'clock. I know some of you have other meetings. So thank you again so much for your time today and participating in this. Again, we'll make this recording available to everyone. And if you have any questions on specifics, please do reach out to Bharat and also to Victor. Victor, if you want to share your contact details, your email briefly, or LinkedIn briefly in the chat, so that people know how to get in touch with
Oh,
you.
sure. How to share? You
Go to
got
the
mine?
chat.
Huh?
Go to the chat and just key in Victor.
Okay. Everybody, right?
Yeah. So
Uh,
again, thank you everyone for your time today. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you're considering a career in real estate, you now know that there's a lot of areas that you can look into, and it's a very, very rich field for anyone. Okay, fantastic. So Victor, once you type it in,
uh,
people can take note of that, and then they
yes.
can get in touch with you.
Why don't I just drop my WhatsApp's number,
Sure.
and they can just
Okay, so
WhatsApp.
Okay.
everyone, you
Thank
have
you.
Victor's number and Bharat's number. Please take note of those. And again, do attend the other sessions that we have. We will have a tech session coming up later today at 3 o'clock. And then we have a fintech as well as a, what's the other one? Good gosh, a finance session next week and a consulting session next week as well. So if you're interested in any of these industries, I want to talk to the mentors, please do attend. Okay.
Adeline, if it's all right, create a chat group so they can ask us in the chat group and if necessary.
It's okay lah, because we didn't take the details for this. They
Right,
just
right. No worries. Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thanks
you.
everyone. Have a good day.
Thank
Okay.
you, Adeline. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you,
Thanks
Victor.
Bharad
Bye-bye.
again.
See you, bro. Bye.